Morning friends, I'm Gagan Puranik and we are going to discuss the structure of animal cell. So as we all know that a cell is basically the structural and functional unit of a living organism's body. Any organism, whether it is a unicellular organism like amoeba or a multicellular huge giant like a blue whale, every organism's body is made up of tiny structural units called cells. The basic structure of each and every cell is almost same. Certain organelles are present inside a cell whose function define the overall function of the cell. So in order to understand life more clearly, let us now understand the structure of a cell. So like anything we see around us, the cell is also bounded by a membrane or a structure that separates it from the surrounding environment. First of all, the first thing which we are going to see in a cell is its cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Okay, so the outermost covering of the cell, just like if we are considering the cell as a room, what role is played by the walls of this room is played by the plasma membrane in the cell. It is the limiting membrane of the cell. It differentiates cell from the surrounding environment. This particular plasma membrane is a semi-permeable or rather selectively permeable membrane which ensures that only selected items get inside a cell. So not all things can enter or leave the cell. Only the things which are required by the cell can enter the cell, and only the things which cells want to send out, they will pass the plasma membrane. Other substances cannot pass out. After the plasma membrane, we'll talk about the most important thing in the cell. The entire jelly-like matrix or the semi-solid substance which is filled inside the cell, which is filled inside the plasma membrane or which comprises the cell is the cytoplasm. Okay? It can more conveniently be called as the protoplasm. In further classes we will understand that the cytoplasm plus the nuclear sap, which will be known as nucleoplasm, both will comprise the protoplasm. So cytoplasm plus nucleoplasm will form the protoplasm. Cytoplasm आपका base material, it is the base material of the cell. Now after the cytoplasm, the next important thing is this region. This centrally placed organelle is the main part of the cell. It is made up of 4 different structures, we can say, and it is collectively known as the nucleus. It is the control unit of the cell. The nucleus is made up of a double membrane structure called nuclear envelope. Okay, so here it is the nuclear envelope. Now we can see that this nuclear envelope is not continuous. It has many tiny pores in this so that the nucleus and cell can communicate with them. And these pores are known as nuclear pores. Moving ahead, inside the nucleus, there is a spherical dense body which is also known as nucleolus. And this nucleolus is the factory of very important organelle that is called ribosome. We'll later on define ribosome as the protein factory of the cell. So basically nucleolus forms ribosomes. These ribosomes come out of the cell into the cytoplasm and perform their function for building proteins. And the last and the most important component of the nucleus is a thread-like structure called chromatin. This chromatin is none other than the DNA. So this is the genetic material which is kept securely inside the nuclear vault, we can say that. Coming out of the nucleus, there are several organelles which perform different functions, just like the organs of our body. Some organelles are for digestion of food, some organelles for respiration obviously, and some for transportation. So let us see those organelles. The first which we are encountering is the Golgi body, or we can say that Golgi apparatus. This particular structure is the packaging and processing unit of cell. Anything that cell is synthesizing, anything the cell is synthesizing is packaged and processed in this structure called Golgi body. After the Golgi body, another important structure is mitochondria. It is responsible for cellular respiration. Mitochondria performs respiration in the cell and it produces energy from the food which we are consuming. Coming on to the next organelle here, this structure is ribosome, and the ribosome is responsible for formation of proteins. We will see in the later classes how these ribosomes are performing the function of synthesizing proteins inside the cell. After ribosomes, we will be seeing another important structure which is somehow connected to the nuclear membrane and spans till the plasma membrane. This network of membrane is known as endoplasmic reticulum, and since we can see these dot-like structures all over the surface of this endoplasmic reticulum, these dot-like structures are ribosomes attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, and this makes its surface a rough one. So this part of endoplasmic reticulum is also known as rough endoplasmic reticulum. Obviously, ribosomes are attached, so protein synthesis is one of the important functions for this RER. Endoplasmic reticulum is also there without ribosomes, but it is not in this membranous structure, it is discrete. This is called smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It is responsible for production of lipids or synthesis of lipids. Then there are certain minor organelles as well. This is centriole, a star-like structure present just beside the nucleus. It is helpful in cell division. Centriole, cell division. And then coming on to this tiny bag-like structures, these are the vacuoles, and these are the lysosomes. Lysosomes contain digestive enzymes and they perform two major functions. Either they will digest the food for the cell, or at times of crisis they will digest the whole cell itself. This lysosome and vacuole sometimes fuse when they contain food, forming a food vacuole. So these are the major things which we can see or visualize inside an animal cell. Okay, we saw the major organs like nucleus, the nuclear structure we have seen. We saw the major organelles from the cell. In further more classes we will discuss each and every organelle in greater detail. So till then, thank you everyone. Have a nice day.